Hello, I'm going to take you through a multiplane balance test in the DATS analysis software. First of all, we're going to run the main balance application from the side panel in the DATS analysis software. So if we look down the left hand side, you'll see there's a balance entry on the left hand side. So if I click that, this expands the options, and now we can click on the main balance application software. After we run the software for the first time, it will ask us to select some of the more advanced options. For the moment, I'm going to click OK and accept all the defaults. Now, as this is the first time we run the software, there's no balance projects found within the software, and normally you would create your balance project from this dialog. Because I'm going to be using the training data within the software, I'm going to cancel this dialog. So it's just telling me that the balance project hasn't been created. Also, when you run the software for the first time, you will get these tips of the day, just to give you general guidance on specific features within the balance software. I'm going to turn this off for now, then close this, and from the configuration menu I can change the software from the acquire option to use training data. Now, because I didn't create a project before, I'm going to use the create project option from the menu. So now, to create a project, I'm going to click the create button and then browse for the project directory where all the balance tests data will go into. So this is like the main root directory. So if I go and select a folder I created called balance data, now I'm going to browse for an acquisition setup file that has all the channels and settings that I would use during the balance test. This particular training data was on a 2-piece drive line, so I'm going to select the setup for that 2-piece drive line. Now, what you can do is you can click on the edit acquisition button here, and this is telling me where to save any changes I make. This is loading the V4 acquisition software and will communicate to the P8000. So within the V4 acquisition software, you can edit the settings of the channels you're going to acquire and set up your sensitivities. So this AS4 file has been previously set up for the channels in the training data. So I'm going to just close this down, and I'm going to edit the actual balance setup. Now, because the training data is using a 2-piece data configuration, that has been pre-selected for me, but at this point you can go in and edit the balance planes that you're going to measure and try and reduce the imbalance on. So this particular test was done on an axle and center bearing and transmission planes. So from within this dialog, you can choose to select any of the balance planes and edit them from within. So I'm going to click OK and accept these settings, then click next. This page is showing me a description of what the parameters are coming up on the next page. So I'm going to click next to this. So within this page I can select which are my balance locations, and also I can select which are my measurement signals. So I'm going to leave these defaults as they are. Now on this page we're going to choose out of our acquired signals which ones are actually going to be used for the balance vibration measurements. So I'm going to right click on this option and select all to highlight all those vibration measurements. So we have Z and Y signals on each measurement plane. So I'm going to click save to save this setup, and now I can exit the balance setup. Now this blue prompt here gives you an indication of what you should be doing next. So this is telling me to click OK to complete the creation of the balance project. So now we can see we've got a project directory in the balance data folder. So now I can go ahead and create a new balance test. So I'm going to call this first test test 1. From this point you can go in and edit your acquisition setup if you need to, and also your balance setup, but we're going to leave them as we did when we created the project. So I'm going to click OK to that. This is just giving me a prompt to tell me where the acquisition setup file is going to be saved to. So if we needed to make any changes to the setup file, that's where we need to make the changes to. Right, so that's created the test. This right hand panel is a log of the progress of the test. So at the moment it's just saying the test setup has been locked, so we've chosen our test setup. So I'm going to click next.